Welcome. We are at World Hydrogen Week in Copenhagen, and I'm here with Erik Andersen, CEO of European Energy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're enjoying the conference and you've had many good discussions. Great. So what does European Energy do and how do they fit into the hydrogen value chain?
European Energy is a renewable energy developer, meaning that we are primarily making electrons. In 25 countries, we have a pipeline of 60 gigawatt of generation capacity. Then 4 years back, we stepped into e-fuels, where the first product we are doing is e-methanol. And we have, after development and construction, we have now inaugurated our first facility and start to deliver methanol to our customers within the maritime sector, but also within the chemical plastic sector. So that's the first experience we have within e-fuels.
Yeah. So on that topic, a big congratulations to you and European Energy for your large-scale e-methanol plant, which came into effect earlier this year. Can you tell us a little bit more about the capacities? And you mentioned bunkering as kind of an off-taker, but anything more that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why we went all the way and not just made a PowerPoint and then dropped the project was actually that we started with the offtake. So we started with our customers signing long-term contracts at fixed prices, and we had one from the maritime sector being Maersk, and two from the chemical and the plastic sector being Novo, the pharmaceutical company, and LEGO, the toy maker. And with this basis, the offtake basis, we started to develop and actually construct with our own resources this first 40,000 ton methanol facility here in Denmark. So that was very much an in-house development, in-house construction, and it was completed in only 18 months. The capacity we have is 40,000 ton a year, and we have just been up to run at 110% of the capacity, so it's going quite well.
Very impressive. So my next logical question would be, okay, so Maersk is one of your off-takers. Ammonia is also being looked at as a long-term solution, as an alternative fuel. Are you thinking about ammonia?
I think our focus right now is primarily to make the second generation of methanol, green methanol. And there we have some exciting development where we are looking at ESMR. And the advances there is that we'll be able to bring down the cost. I mean, cost is a topic in this sector, and the scale is also a topic. So we have more focus on taking methanol to the next generation and make a next generation low-cost, high-volume e-methanol or methanol product.
You mentioned cost was definitely a factor that you've got to consider, and this brings me nicely on to the next question that I have. As an early adopter, you're going to have quite a few learnings and challenges that you overcame. Can you please share some of those?
Yeah, I mean, for us, typically we make electrons, right? And that's a very, very simple product. Now it's molecules, and it's slightly more complicated to make molecules. And if we take our customer base, I mean, in the maritime sector where you have a two-stroke engine is not very selective. It just burns the methanol. But if you're having a very, very fine plastic production, you have very, very precise parameters to the quality of the methanol you're using in your feedstock. And therefore, we have been through our learning curve to have the exact parameters for specific customer needs. We are there now, so we are qualified for all our customers, are starting to ship to all customers. So that's our learning curve in a new industry for us.
Thank you. My next question is another thing that you offer as a company, which is your power purchase agreements, PPAs. So can you explain a little bit what these are and why should people be choosing you?
Yeah, I mean, we have PPAs. That is something we have had for a long time with our power sale and power offtake. We have primarily delivered to the IT industry, primarily in the US. So we have Apple, Google, Amazon as very, very long-term customers, where we typically make long-term 10-year contracts at fixed prices. And that has been the backbone in our development within power generation. We are trying to take some of these elements into to the e-fuel sector, where we also have long-term perspective at fixed prices. And that works, although it's for many of these customers, they are much more short-term focused. So say they maybe buy spot, where we would like to have bankability, because without bankability it's quite difficult to finance huge chemical facilities.
Thank you. So So talking about your projects a little bit more, I know that you're primarily focused on Europe,
Yes.
but you also have a focus in Brazil, in the US, and also Australia, I believe. Where's next? Where else do you have your eye on?
Yeah, I think what you should know about methanol or e-methanol is that around 70% of the production cost is the power, simply. And therefore you will always look for countries where power prices are low. And that means, I mean, it's not a secret that in Canada you have low power prices. It's not a secret that in Brazil you have low power prices. So there are a number of countries where you simply have lower power prices than maybe here in Europe. And we're looking at some of these countries. I have started to have very specific dialogues with and concrete dialogues with partners in those countries. And we have signed a few MOUs. So we hopefully next year can take the first FID on a large-scale methanol facility outside Europe. That does not mean that we have forgotten Europe at all. I mean, we'll continue also our development here, and we will expand our facility in Kassø, and that will also follow next year, an FID on that project.
Very exciting. And it's interesting to hear, well, it's great to hear that you still have focus on Europe as well. Are the regulatory challenges impacting your operations in Europe and your strategic roadmap?
Regulation is impacting our business. I mean, we have some European-specific regulation on CO2 reduction in the maritime sector, for instance, transport sector. We also have IMO regulation coming up. So on one hand, regulation is helping and facilitating the development of green fuels in a number of transport sectors. On the other hand, Europe is heavily regulated. And I think one discussion right now is actually start to deregulate. So we are a little bit on both sides. On some sectors, we'll maybe see some regulation to have a level playing field among industries, especially the ones who are acting globally. On the other hand, we would very much like also to see deregulation to speed up the activities. Very often regulations are slowing down activities, and we need speed in many of these sectors.
And Erik, my final question for you. What are the main takeaways that you've got from this conference?
The main takeaway is actually that the hydrogen and e-fuel sector is still alive. It might be that a lot of projects have been cancelled over the last 6-8 months in various countries, but I still feel the pulse, and I think there will come a second wave now where we move away from the PowerPoints and actually see some physical projects being realized. We start our own physical learning curve, and we start to have relations to real customers buying our products. And we then take it from there with new innovation, with new scaling, which in the end is what we need. This industry is relatively young. The fossil industry is 100 years old. So we should also give ourselves a little bit of time to catch up, so to say, and not be unrealistic that we can make a product in 2-3 years which is at the same quality, same price as the fossil industry have used 100 years to achieve.
Completely
So
agree.
a little bit of time. So give us that time, then we will deliver.
Thank you so much, Erik, and thank you so much for watching.